Do you ever have people say, yeah, I'm like, if I signed up and I'm not, I'm married. But if I was interested, like, could I date a guy in New York so I wouldn't be caught here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not. Just
Well,
kidding.
you know, I think there's a whole other website for that.
But you know, I mean, but if I wanted to date a guy out of town. Do you ever have
absolutely.
married people do that? I mean, married people who.
Not in my group.
Okay.
I make sure that they're not married
Yeah.
any longer, that they're fully divorced.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
part of my background check. I want to make sure that it's docked in the courthouse and it's done.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
mean,
thank you. I think if you were, yeah, you'd really
you know,
like
close
to know
that door and move forward. Yeah, because a lot of people, they're not really emotionally, I mean, people have to be emotionally ready to get into a relationship. And if they're still working through a divorce and all the dramas that are going on there, they need to just get through that and then clear their head and their hearts and be ready to welcome a new relationship into their lives. And a lot of people I have also, you know, have gone the route of the rebound marriage or the rebound relationship right after their divorce or during the divorce. And those relationships never really last either because of their emotional well-being at that time.
I think that's very true, and that would be.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense because you don't know. I mean, you're out there and we meet people and we don't know if they're, you know, really where they are at that time. So it would be nice. I think we do everything at such a professional level, and I think we've become so information overloaded. It makes sense to have a service like yours, especially when you're a successful woman or a successful man, and maybe having somebody to help facilitate the process. Well, I know probably a lot of you have questions, so I'd like to open up the floor and let you ask questions. I'm going to repeat it to make sure it gets heard on the camera so that anybody tuning in will be able to hear. So, any questions out there? Okay, we're going to go right back here to Ms. Maureen. Hello, Maureen.
Do you do all the interviews yourself, or do you have a staff that you work with?
Well, at this time I do have a staff.
Okay, so the question was,
Yes.
do you do all the interviews yourself, or do you have staff? So you do have staff?
Yes, I do have staff. I reside here in Washington for 80% of my life, I guess. So I interview everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
In Philadelphia, I do have a woman that interviews all the candidates there. In New York, I've got 2 women that are full-time up there that are interviewing. But when I go back there, when I'm there 20% of the time, there are some people that I do interview myself. I am involved with a couple of other I have 2 very strong alliances, one with a matchmaking business in California and one overseas in Europe. And any of those individuals, when they come over, they usually do come into New York. I make sure that I'm up in New York during that time to be able to interview those people.
So you have people from Europe and other countries who come here, maybe want to meet somebody here, and are they just want a short-term date, or they're interested in a more serious relationship?
Oh, no, they want, Berkeley International is my partner overseas. They work in the same capacity I do, as far as same, it's funny, it's just the business model is almost equivalent. So anyway, they sign up people, we share clients. So the client comes over here if they're interested in meeting people here, yes, and we're going to certainly try to introduce them. And the women, my God, they love the British men.
Really?
Oh, God. You know, I mean, they're just these dashing chaps. They just, his accent alone. But yeah, so we have a lot of the back and forth. And especially in the banking industry in New York, there's tons of people going overseas to London. And I've signed up a lot of people that are being serviced over there.
Interesting, interesting. It's such an international business. We'll go over here. Yes, ma'am.
Are there certain parameters for the people that you will accept as clients? So that are there income requirements or educational requirements, or do you take anybody who comes to you? Because it seems to me there'd be some wannabes who want to find somebody that is the kind of profile of your client, but who might not himself or herself meet that profile.
And the question, let me repeat the question. So the question was, are there certain parameters that she has for taking clients at certain income levels, experience levels, those kinds of things? How do you kind of make that determination?
Well, first of all, I don't hold somebody to a certain income level because, again, I work with a very large age range. So some of my younger clients might still be just right out of college, and so they're working their way up. There has to be a certain level of, I would say everybody has an undergrad degree. 70% have advanced degrees, and they're really intelligent. As long as their heart is in the right place about wanting to meet somebody and are emotionally ready, and that they can be matched within the pool of people that I have, I'll be willing to accept them. I've interviewed some people that are very, you know, they're not very articulate. just, they're not very classy. You know, I can't really work with that type because I don't think I would be able to find them a match within my pool. So there seems to be like just professional people, like, you know, just like the people you work with, I work with. It's very much like that. Does that answer your question for the most part? I don't.
What is the fee? I mean, I guess the fee alone would weed some people out. What is the?
So the question is, what's the fee to use a professional matchmaker?
Well, in Washington, I retain, my retainers start at $5,500 for a year. So now, some of my younger clients, again, if they're young women in their 20s, I do have a whole group of women that have paid half that fee. And I also take on resources, free resources. These are individuals that maybe I met at a party or an event, might be a good match for one of my clients. So I'll invite somebody in once in a while to meet one of our people. But I'm not going to service them as a member, per se.
Excellent. Yes, Margaret.
You mentioned that you do a lot of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Is the coaching always connected with the matchmaking, or is that a separate business?
So the question was talking about coaching that you do. Is it separate or is it part of the career that you do in coaching your clients?
The coaching really is part of the matchmaking. It comes about when we experience challenges as far as if somebody is becoming really disgruntled and, you know, discouraged. If there's things that, you know, if somebody's going out on dates and they're sabotaging their chances because they're behaving a certain way, bringing up topics that are just not appropriate. Even, you know, some people are just oblivious as to how often they check their cell phones, answer their cell phones on a date, being notoriously late. I mean, all those things. Also, keeping people motivated as far as if somebody goes out with someone a couple of times and they sort of like them, but they're not really sure, and they still want to meet others and all that. I often try to coach somebody to say, okay, again, back to slow down, let this person be a part of your life right now and see how it goes. See if there's something that can develop from that. We'll put this membership on hold, just take your time. Because, I mean, establishing a relationship is about spending time with that person. And so I coach that all the time, so.
When you said your membership starts at $5,500,
Mm-hmm.
are there different packages that people can pay for, or how does?
So we're asking a question about, are there different kinds of packages you can get for matchmaking? You know, like I just want lunch date package, or, you know, or tall, handsome guy package. What's that special like? A guy who owns a jet or a yacht package, you know?
Well, the specials today are, the retainers start at $5,500 here in Washington, D.C. That is what I have found out is appropriate for the demographic that I work with and what people can afford. New York is much higher. I start my memberships up there around $8,500 to $10,000. That's for a local search. If somebody wants to tap into the different offices, like travel between the offices, then it requires more work with the girls in the service in that area. So that might be a certain percentage more. And if somebody wants to be served overseas and meet people in that area, well then yes, I have to then compensate my partner, and that's going to be a fee as well. So my highest membership has been $50,000. So
What do you get for $50,000?
Who do you get?
Who do you get for? Not what do you get? Who do you get for $50,000?
a lot of very high profile individuals have joined our service that are pretty well-known names. They want the special attention. They are interested in a national search. They're also interested in maybe meeting people overseas. And it's just very much like being a one-on-one like concierge with this individual.